What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more J-drama score reaction. And we're back with another tune from the Ouroboros soundtrack slash score. Mentioned it before, I really love this show. Not only does it feature some of my favorite actors and actresses, but it's this perfect blend of, again, neo-noir kind of crime drama, detective drama, but also this sort of stylized, like modern Shakespearean tragedy. It's just this really cool show, really cool narrative twist, including a couple that are just like, oh my god, the gravity that I have to like pause the episode, I can't believe it. A couple of those kind of moments along the way. Really great show. I highly recommend it. We're going to listen to another tune from the original soundtrack. And I mentioned before, part of the dramatic flavor and narrative of the story is that it's about these two guys that are trying to figure out in different ways, one in the police, one as a like mid-level Yakuza boss in the underworld, but secretly still in touch with each other and devoting their entire lives essentially to figuring out who killed kind of their de facto like adoptive mother. She ran this orphanage that they were both at. She was like a teacher in her mid-20s or so on. She was really sweet to them both, and it shows a lot of flashbacks of them as a kid in that context and so on. But she was murdered one night, seemingly randomly. It was never solved and so on. But the kids ran out when it happened, and they saw these guys with gold watches get into this sort of, very expensive car and drive away rapidly. So the rest of their life, they're trying to figure out what happened. Well, the tune we're going to listen to is called 20 Years Ago, and it is often played when one or more of the characters is talking about or mentally flashing back to living in that orphanage, and specifically the teacher who was killed, slain 20 years earlier. So like often when they're flashing to memories of her, you'll hear this play, and indeed it's an emotional tune. It's kind of in a couple different parts. All of it is sort of emotional, but it's very floaty and just like kind of sad, like melancholic, but then it sort of like brings in this sort of like little guitar riff and a bit of percussion, and it feels more like, the emotional palette gets a little more complex, which again, it works if you know the show. So with no further ado, this is from the show Ouroboros, which I should mention is from 2015. But this is Kimura Hideakira, which is the composer slash music director of the score and soundtrack. And the tune is 20 Years Ago from the drama Ouroboros. Sort of ambient pad. Electric bass. Wicked. Again, it's like, I think it's very emotional just in terms of the sonics, but once again, you know, part of the reason I'm reacting to the soundtracks from a lot of these J-dramas that I started this playlist is because when I've watched a number of these shows, the music ends up playing such a critical role narratively, emotionally, and there have been multiple points where I'm watching a show for the first time and it's like I'm gripped and compelled by the drama, and yet there's part of my brain that's like, hold on, man, like, I need to hear this track independent of anything else because this music is just unbelievable. And this is one of those cases where when I'm watching the show, it's like, oh my god, they're flashing back to what happened to this teacher and it's making me sad and it's emotional. But also I'm just aware that, like, man, this is a really well composed tune. And like I said, it's like it starts austere and floaty and sort of lamentative, and then it sort of gets a bit of the guitar, a bit more energy, and then it really sort of goes into that electric kind of groove. So again, it's like the emotional palette gets a little more complex, which again, you just have to see the show. But really, it's a masterclass. It's another great tune. So Kimura Hideakira, shout out to you. Another top tune. Do let me know what you think of this one. As I said, we're going to go through the vast majority of the soundtrack, and I've got some other soundtracks from some other J-dramas. And Ron, again, if you see this, I've already tried to sell you on a couple shows, including this one, but I was thinking about it. There's one or two more coming down the line that, you know, I'm going to try to sell you on even harder, so hopefully you're here for it. Let me know if you are. But yeah, let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.